The ash collector still remembers you. There's a town just beyond the map that no one draws anymore. It's not off the grid, it's off memory. You won't find it in satellite images or on the backs of road signs. You won't find it at all unless you've left something behind. Something dead. I didn't go there by choice. I wasn't lured by a postcard or an urban legend. I was on a road that shouldn't have had a turn, following a GPS that shouldn't have known a name. But there it was, spoken in that cold, emotionless voice: turn left onto Grayscale Avenue. My brother had died 3 weeks earlier. Not suddenly, not tragically. He died the way most people do, slowly, and with a quiet kind of cruelty. It left a hollow in me that didn't echo. The world just went silent. So I drove. Every day. Miles into nowhere. I don't even remember what I was chasing, maybe just a reason to stop. That's when I found the town. There was no sign. 1 minute I was on a stretch of empty highway, the next, I was surrounded by fog and the ruins of what used to be civilization. Storefronts with shattered windows, stoplights still blinking over cracked pavement, and an air that smelled like warm stone after fire. Not smoke, ash. I parked my car out of instinct and stepped out. No sound followed. No birds. No wind. Just the sound of ash moving underfoot. The buildings looked half-burned, not recently, but in a way that suggested time itself had caught fire here. And then I saw him. A man, or something shaped like a man, stood at the end of the road. His suit was charcoal black, but it shimmered when the light hit it, like it was made from paper-thin cinders. His face wasn't hidden, but it wasn't visible either. It was blurry, like it had been erased too many times and couldn't remember how to form itself anymore. He didn't move. He didn't need to. I walked to him. Not because I wanted to, but because something inside me said I already had. That I was finishing a journey I'd started the day my brother died. You've returned, the figure said. His voice didn't come from his mouth, it was like it leaked from my own ears, slithering through my head. I've never been here, I said. All ashes blow back to the fire. He raised his arm slowly, pointing to the center of the town. There, half swallowed by fog, was a tower, thin, spiraling, with windows shaped like empty eyes. A slow column of smoke rose from the top, but it wasn't going up. It curled downward, into the streets, into the alleys, into me. You've left something unfinished, he whispered. Something that belongs here. I wanted to turn back, to run. But my feet walked. They walked through streets I didn't remember, past buildings I shouldn't recognize, and into that tower like it had been waiting for me since before I was born. Inside, there were no stairs. No elevators. Just a spiral ramp that coiled upward endlessly, lined with walls covered in names. Not carved, not painted. Burned in. Each one smoldering faintly like dying embers. I ran my hand across them as I walked, until I saw it, my brother's name. And next to it, mine. Not in the future tense. Not some prophecy. It was already there. Glowing slightly brighter than the others. I looked back, but the hallway was gone. Only smoke behind me. And then I heard the crunch. Not footsteps, knees. Someone crawling. Many someones. The sound of bone on stone. The ramp behind me lit up with dull red light. Shadows began to crawl up toward me, faces like wet clay, twitching and stretching as they climbed. One of them whispered, "We remember what you buried." And that's when I realized the tower wasn't just where the ashes were kept. It was built from them. From forgotten promises, burned bodies, lost names. I had brought some of it with me, not just my brother's memory, but the guilt. The anger. The unspoken things we had sealed in silence. And the tower wanted to eat them. At the top, I found a room, circular, lined with mirrors that didn't show reflections, only scenes from my life I'd erased. Every lie. Every cruel word. Every time I thought I was the victim when I had been the blade. In the center was an urn. Open. Empty. But not for long. Behind me, the ash collector whispered, "You may leave what you must, but what you take will always return." I don't remember coming back down. I don't remember the drive home. But I do remember the urn. It was in my trunk when I got back, wrapped in cloth, warm to the touch. My brother's voice sometimes leaks from it at night. Not his screams, his silences. The things he wanted to say but didn't. And I swear, each morning I wake up, I look a little more like him. I tried throwing the urn away. It returns. I buried it. It dug itself out. I even burned it. And when I opened my eyes, I was standing on Grayscale Avenue again. The collector watching. If you're reading this, if you're grieving someone you think you've moved on from, ask yourself one question. Where did the ashes go? Because if you don't remember, the ash collector does. And he's already on his way. The first time I saw him after returning home was through the bathroom mirror. Not in the reflection, through it. It was subtle, like static behind the glass. A shimmer, a distortion, and then the faint outline of a figure standing behind me in a room that wasn't mine. I blinked, turned, nothing there. But when I leaned in again, the air behind the mirror seemed to breathe. The surface warped inward slightly, and for a moment I saw what looked like fingers, long, gray, charred fingers, press against the inside of the mirror, dragging slowly downward. No sound, no scream, just the slow hiss of skin against glass, like someone trying to pull themselves through. I left the house that night. Slept in my car in a Walmart parking lot. But even there, I wasn't safe. The windshield fogged from the inside around 2:14 a.m., even though I hadn't exhaled. I wiped it away with the sleeve of my hoodie and saw, written backwards on the inside of the glass, "Where's the rest of him?" I didn't sleep after that. It got worse in small, specific ways. Ash in the shower drain, even when I hadn't used it. The smell of burning paper in rooms with no fire. My phone's gallery filling with pictures I didn't take, low-quality photos of a man-shaped shadow standing at the foot of my bed, closer with each image. And then, the dreams. Or maybe not dreams. Maybe memories from that town bleeding back into me. I dreamt I was climbing the tower again. But this time it wasn't empty. The spiral ramp was packed shoulder to shoulder with figures made of soot and grief, whispering names I didn't know. Some of them reached for me, and when their fingers brushed my arm, I felt it in the real world, a searing pain that left a blistered mark. I woke up screaming. When I looked at my arm in the morning, the burn was still there, in the exact shape of a hand. And the urn? It's still here. Still warm. Still humming like something trapped inside is pacing. Every day it's a little heavier. And every time I try to get rid of it, I lose time. Hours just vanish. I come back to myself somewhere else, standing in the middle of my hallway holding it with both hands, or sitting in the bathtub with the urn on my lap, whispering names I don't remember knowing. A week ago, I smashed it. I took it into the backyard, wrapped it in a pillowcase, and crushed it with a sledgehammer until nothing but black powder remained. I even buried the dust deep in the woods, poured gasoline on the site, and burned it down to earth. I felt something leave me when I did it, not relief, not peace. Something colder. Something hollow. That night, I heard scratching behind the walls. Not like rats. Like fingernails across sheetrock. Slow, deliberate. Then came the voices, not whispering this time, but chanting, in a language that vibrated my bones but made no sense to my ears. And finally, the door to my bedroom opened on its own. Standing in the hallway was a child. Maybe 7. Pale. Eyes burned out into empty, smoking pits. He raised a hand and pointed toward my closet. Then he vanished. No flicker. No sound. Just, gone. When I opened the closet, the urn was sitting there, whole again. But this time it wasn't empty. This time, it was weeping. Thick, black tears rolled down the sides, steaming against the floor. And from the opening, I heard voices, not from inside the urn, but from beneath it, like it had punched a hole straight down through the world and into something ancient. One of the voices was my brother's. He was pleading. But not for help. For me to run. Then came the knock. Not at the door. Underneath the floorboards. 3 knocks. Slow. Heavy. Followed by that sound again, the dragging of knees. I didn't sleep. I sat on my bed all night with a knife I knew wouldn't help. And at 3:06 a.m., every light in the house died. The walls began to breathe, visibly, pulsing in and out like lungs inhaling ash. My phone wouldn't turn on. And somewhere just beyond the corner of my vision, I saw movement. Slender limbs, flickering in and out of reality like candle flames struggling to hold their shape. The ash collector was inside now. And he wasn't here for the urn. He was here for what I hadn't given him. It wasn't enough to return the ashes. He wanted what the ashes meant. The anger I never let go of. The grief I never faced. The parts of myself I abandoned after my brother's death, all the guilt, the regret, the cowardice. He wanted the unfinished fire inside me. And the tower? I think it exists inside everyone who's ever lost something and tried to pretend they didn't. I didn't go there physically, not really. It found me because I left the door open. Grief opens the gate. Guilt sets the path. And memory is the match. I don't think I have much longer. I feel the ash in my lungs now. I cough and flakes come out. My skin's graying. I smell like burned wood when I wake up, and my voice cracks like embers breaking apart. The collector isn't patient anymore. He's started knocking during the day. And now, he's not alone. There are others like him. Smaller. Faster. They crawl the ceilings and peek from corners. I see them in reflections that lag behind my movements. I feel them in the space between blanks. And every time I try to tell someone, the words come out as smoke. So this is my warning. My confession. My map. If you ever find yourself on a road that doesn't exist, hearing directions your GPS shouldn't know. If you ever dream of towers built from burned names, or see ash falling from a sky that isn't there. If someone you lost speaks to you through things that should be silent. Leave something behind. Before he collects it himself. Because once the ash collector finds you, he won't ask again. And if you think you're safe, that this was just a story, then why is there ash on your keyboard? Because if there is, you've already invited him in. Not with a ritual. Not with blood. Just by listening. By remembering. That's all it takes. The collector doesn't need doors. He uses memory like a map, grief like a compass. Every story like this one, every whisper passed down, opens a new thread for him to follow. He doesn't crawl through vents or knock on doors. He leaks into you through guilt. Through regret. Through your own silence. You noticed the ash and wiped it away, didn't you? That's what I did. You thought maybe it was from outside. Dust from the fan. Maybe the screen's backlight playing tricks. But when you looked closer, and you will, you saw the fine, gray powder wasn't just resting there. It was forming something. Tiny letters. A name. Maybe it's yours. Maybe it's someone you forgot to grieve. Or worse, someone you tried to. That's how he starts. When I stopped writing that last page, I tried to delete it. But the backspace key locked. My cursor froze. And my screen dimmed. Not from inside the computer, but from outside the monitor, like something pressed against the glass, blocking the light. Then came the sound. A low hiss. Like embers in water. I looked over my shoulder and saw a figure pressed to the wall, not standing, not walking. Hanging. Legs dangling 6 inches off the floor, arms pinned straight to its sides. Its head was cocked exactly like my brother used to tilt it when he didn't understand a joke. Only this time, it was broken. The neck wasn't bent. It was melted. Charred at the angle. A drip of black falling from where the skin used to be. I didn't move. I couldn't. My screen flickered. And then the figure whispered. You kept the warmest parts for yourself. And I knew what he meant. I hadn't mourned my brother. Not really. I cried, yes. I screamed. I collapsed. But I kept the good memories locked away, like they were something precious. I only gave the pain to the world. I buried the warmth. That's what the collector comes for. Not just the sadness. He wants the pieces you don't want to lose, because those are the ones that burn the brightest. Since then, my house has changed. Not all at once. Slowly. Ceilings are a little too high. Doors a little too narrow. I keep counting steps between rooms, and the number keeps changing. I hear footsteps upstairs when no one's there, but they're not walking. They're dragging. I don't remember bringing in the urn. I don't remember building the shelf above my fireplace where it now sits. But it's there. Always watching. Sometimes vibrating, sometimes bleeding smoke. And now, sometimes, it's open. And things crawl out. Last night, I caught one. It was the size of a child but had no eyes, just raw, scorched sockets that glowed. Its mouth was stitched shut, but it screamed anyway. Not sound. Memory. I heard my own voice echo back from it, things I said as a child, things I forgot I'd whispered into pillows when I thought no one was listening. It repeated one thing over and over. He remembers the version of you that lied. That's what the collector does. He doesn't just collect ashes. He collects the lies you tell yourself about who you were when someone died. The pretty stories. The revisionist grief. The hollow forgiveness. And when he's done, he gives you back only what hurts. I've tried burning the house. Twice. It rebuilds itself. Every nail returns, every wall stands again. The collector doesn't let his archive collapse. Because this is a museum now, a vault of unfinished mourning. And I am its caretaker. Or prisoner. Or specimen. I no longer know which. If you're still reading this, you've noticed it by now, the temperature around you. That subtle warmth in the air that wasn't there a minute ago. That faint scent of burned pine. That gentle hum, like something vibrating just under your desk. It's not your imagination. It's your invitation. You've read too far. You've imagined too much. You've remembered someone. That's all it takes. Somewhere in your house, or in your apartment, your dorm room, your basement, the air has changed. Somewhere, a name is burning. And when you hear the knock, and you won't want to answer. But it won't matter. Because the ash collector doesn't wait at the door. He's already inside you. Waiting to finish what you refuse to feel. And when he's done, you'll be the next turn on the shelf. Still warm. Still humming. Still waiting to be opened by someone just like you.